Namaste, everyone. I would like to discuss about the psyche of the man. Okay, so there's a lot of information about a woman and a woman's heart when a man mistreats her, or when he breaks up with her, or when he cheats on her, or all these kinds of things. A woman's heart, the ache and the pain of a woman's heart and heartbreak, okay? But we don't talk a lot about a man, okay, and the psyche of a man, and how it is very much different from women. Women are naturally, when we experience any sort of emotion, we tend to express it, okay, and we express it pretty boldly, and that could be on the aggressive side, okay, when we experience like emotional frustration, or we're very impatient with our partner, we can get very volatile, or in the other way, we can become just super forgiving and super welcoming, okay, and all of the emotions in between. So as women, we naturally are expressive of our emotion, okay, and when we're not, we are always usually expressing emotion, okay. So if we're a woman and we consider ourselves like timid and shy, usually we're expressing it in some other way, and a lot of times for women that can be passive aggressive. So if we're not expressing our emotions as a woman, we're most likely passive aggressive, okay? And our body language says it all. So women who are passive aggressive with their partner, they use their body language to communicate to the man, such as like the frustration pose, such as the I'm agitated pose, such as that I don't want to speak pose, okay? So that's kind of, we're not, if we don't consider ourselves good at articulating our emotions, or we don't consider ourselves quote unquote expressive, usually it just translate as our body language as women, okay, that passive aggressive, okay. Now the psyche of man, okay, so we'll look at the psyche of man, the dynamic of men. So as women, sometimes we want a man to be basically what we are. We are expressive. We express and communicate ourselves, and we learn that pretty much at a young age. It's just, as women, it's in our genetic code to communicate, because we represent community, and a part of community is sharing, caring, and including each other. And without a form of communication, I don't know how that happens. So women are naturally meant to develop a communication skill, but men, they have a different psyche than the woman. Okay, a different genetic code, we could say, than women. So as women, just in genetic code from the hunting and gatherers period, okay, we are basically about community. We're about articulating emotions. We're about involvement with other people. We are basically involved with the people so that we can become greater teachers. So that's kind of like the woman. We get involved with the community because there's no greater wealth of knowledge than being in the community. Okay, and that's what makes us a teacher as a woman. Okay, when we're in the community, we become very we learn a lot. Okay, and we become a teacher because we gain all kinds of trades by just interacting with our people. Okay, even in the hunter-gathering period. But men, as women, we always, our emotion wants to crack open a man's emotion. Okay, just wants him to tell us like it is, kind of thing, and to be bold and brave with their emotions. But men are not like that. Okay, men basically, the emotions is something that they keep it to themselves. Okay, Okay, so if you see like a group of men, I mean, there may be emotions involved, but pretty much when we talk about women emotion, that's very deep and it's very out there and bold kind of thing. You don't really see group of men having that kind of interaction that women have with each other, where they're like crying and and just in awe and having breakthroughs and talking about their children and their husbands, and they're really going deep. Usually when you see men together, it's a totally different game. Okay, it's a totally different setup that usually men, even from little boys, the psychology of little boys is they're more competitive. They're more, we talk about in the ego, okay, expressing the ego, which is like, I have a beautiful wife, or I have this new job, or I'm working on this project that excites me. Okay, a lot of times, the psychology of little boys is that they tend to compare with each other and tend to contrast with each other. So it's a way to like build yourself up in the ranking of men. If you see like even teenage boys together, there's always this ranking thing going on. While women, we're not really like that. And even little girls, we're not like that. We're not looking for like our ranking. We're just very much about sharing and caring. And it doesn't matter as a little girl what ranking you are, or how you compete with me, or how you compare or contrast to me. Okay, that's more of what we call a male design. Okay, but even us as women, we do that, as we try to take on that ego of, like I'm better than you kind of thing. So then we do, as women, get into that compare and contrast, which is masculine, but women do it too. Okay, the whole ranking of, I'm, a higher ranking than you as a woman because I have this sort of status or this thing. Okay, so we do it as women, but it's a masculine design. It's not a natural feminine design. So when it comes to men, a woman is a teacher. Either the woman is much younger than the man, or the woman is much older than the man. A woman is a teacher. Okay, so it's very important to understand that a man looks at a woman as a teacher. Okay, a teacher of emotions. So he looks to her to is like a voice of reason. Okay, and when a woman has what we call emotional maturity, a man has emotional maturity. Okay, when a woman does not have emotional maturity, a man does not have emotional maturity. So in a relationship, if it's feeling like it's getting immature, okay, if the woman matures her emotions, the man is going to have to adapt. Okay, he's going to have to meet her where she's at, or the relationship's not gonna, it's not going, he can, find something else kind of thing. But usually men who are with a woman who is very emotionally solid, who has a good emotional well-being, he will, what we call adapt for her. He will do anything for her because she becomes like his muse. Okay, men are looking for their muse. Either it could be in the mother, the sister, it could be in the lover, or it could be in a friend. Women represent the muse. Okay, they're the creative spark to life. Well, men are very much, they create the shelter. They create the protection. Okay, the protection, like when we're in a home, it protects us from the elements of like the wind or the cold, or animals, or danger kind of thing. So with a man, and when he experiences like emotional heartache, as women, we just super expressive. We're all over like social media, or sometimes we're just all over with talking with our friends and all that kinds of things when we experience heartbreak or any sort of dissatisfaction in a relationship. While men, they're more so about bottling it up. Bottling up emotions. Okay, so men actually, if they're hurt by a woman, they can carry that for life. Okay, well, women, we understand that we can attract other mates, while men, they don't. I don't think they entirely understand that. They know that they can, attract sexual partners, that kind of thing, but that doesn't really feed a man's soul. Okay, that kind of gets very boring after a while. So I'm talking about attracting a woman, a mate, meaning somebody who's gonna see it through with him, see it through. As women, we know that we are very magnetic, that we represent the beauty of the world. Okay, so yes, we're gonna get, heartbroken, and maybe heartbroken for months or for a year. Okay, that kind of thing. But we always come to a revelation within our heart that we are women. We are meant to attract things, and we can attract things. Okay, once we heal our heart, we become basically available. Well, men, when they give themselves to a woman, okay, when they really emerge with a woman, they take it seriously. Okay, emerging with a woman, meaning if they're thinking of marriage or, children, or let's have a home together, men do tend to be more serious than women when it comes to like emerging with somebody. So and usually that emerging it can be very mature. Okay, now I'm talking about some women, okay, they're participating in, I don't know, whatever. There's another culture out there, but I'm not talking about that. When a man emerges with a woman, it's because he's taking it seriously. It's like you take a house seriously. Shelter is a serious thing. You're not going to build your house on hay because you know that this is not going to last. The wind's going to come and we're going to be out in the cold with the hay all over the place. Okay? So shelter to a man is, as women, we want that safety. We want that sense of protection. Okay? Because being amused, being creative, expressive, sometimes in life that can I don't know the word I'm trying to use. Oh no. We can feel very vulnerable as women. Okay, especially in our current society, we can feel very vulnerable and being very creative or expressive. Okay, so that safety and protection from a man is what gives us that shelter, so that we can just fully just be ourselves and not have to worry, that be that uptight and that tense woman that's kind of on the edge of like, is something gonna knock me down? Am I gonna be knocked down for that or knocked down for that? Okay, because as women, culturally, we've been knocked down so many times for so many reasons, and we don't even know why. We're like, why am I knocked down right now? I don't even know. What am I doing? I'm just sitting there like furniture, just obeying, and I'm knocked down. I'm like, what? What was I doing? I don't even know. Okay, so as we want to be the muse to a man, but a part of a women a lot of times who are not fully available, is because she doesn't feel safe. And usually as women, we just know based on a man's psyche if he's gonna give a shelter or not. We just know. Okay, and that's why as women, we get involved in these kinds of relationships, okay, where we're not really available to them. We're just kind of just going for the fun or the hot sex of it, but then we always end up kind of just slowly exiting. Okay, after a while, we're like, nope, no thank you. Okay, while men with their emotions, they as men, there's this whole thing, I don't know where it came from, about men being some shallow howls or something like that. Okay, where there are a lot of malnourished men out there, okay, who there's huge disrespect for women and what we call is the culture of men. Okay, and the whole abandoning women and their children, and that's a real thing on this planet. but usually comes from the man's relationship with the mother. So like I said, if the mother was very immature, the man becomes the boy becoming a man is very immature. Okay, so very much when a woman is, especially a mother, when she's very respectful of herself and very respectful of him and his emotions, usually that man thinks of women in high regard. But if a mother is just like, I don't care about your emotions, and very much belittling a little boy, that's going to eventually turn into to almost toward resentment towards women, or anger towards women, because men are actually they are actually sensitive. Okay, as women, we look to the ego and the men in the groups, and we see them all talking about their ego and stuff like that, and we think, oh, men are not really sensitive. But when they emerge with a woman, like mind, body, and soul, it's a serious thing. It means that they want to see it through. They really want to learn from you, like all the way, not just 1 minute and then the other minute kind of thing. But when a woman is not available, meaning she's half in, half out, men usually know, and then they we call that whole push and pull kind of thing. So as women, we represent the emotional well-being of ourself, of the generation, and of the relationship. So if our emotions are just like all over the place, that kind of thing, then yeah, that's our relationship's going to be like with a man. If we're like unavailable and then there and then there, yeah, a man, he's going to look at that and he's be like, okay, this is not real serious, so I'm not going to be serious. This is not serious, so I'm not going to be serious. Emotional well-being is taking it serious. Okay? And a part of, we talk about the language of the woman, and she represents emotional well-being to a man, is that when she is very much in her leadership over like her life, well, basically a teacher of her life, in any way that could be. Okay, a teacher of her own emotions, a teacher of her own sort of whatever she's got going on, which she's sharing, she's caring, she's developing teachings within herself. That is extremely attractive to a man, because a woman represents the beauty of the universe. What is more wealthy? What is wealthier than the beauty of the universe? That's wealth, and men know that. They know that's wealth. And we say the beauty of the universe, it's very much like sacred geometry. It's a teaching, it's a practice, it's an applied science. The beauty of the universe is actually applied science. Either looking at a tree or looking at a flower. It's like sacred geometry. It's a teaching, and it teaches. So when we are vibrating that frequency, we become quite captivating, and we bring a man to his heart. So the ego is very much can be about the mind, or it can be about the penis. Okay, not so much the heart. We as women, we vibrate the heart. That's the beauty of the universe. The star of courage to a man is overcoming the mind, and in that whole battle that goes on in the mind. That makes a man very courageous, like Krishna, is to overcome that addiction in the mind, or that seduction, that obsession, that succubus kind of thing in the mind. That makes a man very courageous. But a man, we talk about women are the muse. They're the muse to a man's, to his purpose, his sense of direction. Either you're the mother to a little boy, you're the sister, you're the wife. It's an inspiration, okay? Because when we as women are emotional well-being, when we are the beauty of the universe, wealthy in teaching, okay, wealthy in our teaching ability to the generation, to the family, to the relationship, the community, okay, that sharing, caring, and inclusion, basically that becomes a precious wealth. It's not even earthbound. Men can be more, they're more dense. They're earthbound. That's just their genetic code. They're more earthbound than women. So they can get the material. They can dominate the material and build as much to their dynasty as possible. But if you even look culturally, there's always the woman who literally has that beauty of the universe. She is looked to by the man as something even more precious than the dynasty, because she has the teaching of a man's soul. And why does he want to build a dynasty? What is the purpose of it? And that's the woman. And it's not something we preach. It's not preaching. Okay, teaching is not preaching. Okay, there's a lot of women who preach about like what their man needs to do, and like he needs to be better and he needs to get better at that, and it becomes nagging. Okay, that nagging, that's preachy. When you're nagging, it's like a preach kind of like, and nobody likes to be preached at, really. It's kind of exhausting. Okay, it's really exhausting to be yelled at kind of thing. Okay, but teaching, as we do with our children, it's a lot of times it's through observation, through exploration, and through patience. Okay, it's through observation, exploration, and patience. That's what we call it teaching. Okay, and that with a man is how he can unfold his heart. So a man's heart, woman's bloom, when it blooms, it's like woo, that kind of thing. But a man's heart, it's kind of like, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. I don't know. It's like kind of, okay, we get a little bit opening, and then a little bit there, and then a little bit there, and then it sort of, okay, it opens a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And for a man, it can be years, really, before a man can really open up his heart and experience that deep intimacy. Because intimacy is not just, you meet somebody one night and then you woo, that kind of thing. No, that's never satisfying for a man, because a part of a man really getting to his soul and becoming soulful is that unraveling of his heart. And there are many ways. It's not just through a woman, the mother, the community of women, okay? Having a beautiful aunt or a grandmother or a good sister. There's so many pathways, but usually it involves like a feminine energy, a feminine influence on a man's life that really helps him to develop that heart chakra. Okay, to develop that heart chakra. Because men, when boys, the psychology of boys is they're naturally can be in their head, and physical, okay, which can be more about that like root chakra, about like survival kind of thing, developing that ego of security. But that heart is something, as little girls, we just naturally communicate with each other. We naturally know what to say to heal the relationship. But as with men, it's something that develops, and it develops through the encounters with women and what they learn from women. Okay, what they learn from just observing women and exploring and being patient and having them be patient. So when a woman is very much in awe of her own heart, her own heartbeat, she's in awe of her own life and awe of her own, just her own spirit kind of thing, and the way she becomes a muse is that to a man, he wants to see it through. Like a muse, he wants to see it through because he wants to see his own soul through. He wants to see his own heart through the healing and through the letting go, and through the becoming more authentic, and through just not caring what people think about him, and not caring about how compare and contrast. And that is patience for man. It does not happen overnight. So as women, if we want basically someone to just be that kind of thing with us, just right off the bat, we should be with women, okay? Just interact with women, because a part of being a teacher as a woman is that we very much patience with a man, okay? Because a lot of men, most men, that's why we see a lot of this anger towards women thing or disrespect towards women, because a lot of men actually carry a wounding from their mother. Okay, their mother completely hurt their emotion. Okay, and they take it very seriously when they when their emotions are basically disregarded or twisted in some sort of way to get at somebody, or just there's so many ways that we as women can take a man's emotion and just kind of like just kind of thing. And as women, we do that to each other all the time, where we get into, you know, this cat stuff. You call it cat fight of women. But when a woman does that to a man, it's actually something very serious to a man's heart. So a lot of mothers do, then they don't even realize that it's actually very, it affects a man very deeply. Because a boy, or not a boy, a man wants to experience that emergence. And when he experiences that emergence, and then it just, you know, it just kind of like beats up his emotions because of immaturity or something, even in childhood with the mother, basically it's just shut down. Men can be shut down. They are very shut down. And as women, we enter into relationships with these kinds of men. We're like, why are they shut down? And we begin to realize they're shut down because of something in the past or a relationship that really, you know, really got their emotions, you know, just really kind of, I don't even know the word, really sabotaged their emotions in some way, or maybe they sabotaged themselves. So when men experience that emotional sabotage, either a woman towards a man, or a man sabotages his own emotions in this relationship, basically men don't want to experience that hurt. So it's rather just keep it shut, keep it locked down, than actually to keep it expressive and keep it flowing. Okay, but a part of a man really coming into what we call his soul frequency, okay, and really developing that heart chakra, is about letting it flow, is about letting that I like to say that rose, you know, that lotus flower at the heart to really bloom. And a part of letting it bloom is that the emotions are fragile, like little petals, they're fragile. And as women, we have so, like, again, we're the wealth of the universe. So if something, you know, damages our petals, we're going to feel sad, but we actually have a greater strength in our ability to grow a new flower, or to grow a new rose or lotus, okay? Because we've done that so many times, where we've been down, beaten down, and then we come back up, because we must, as women, because without our rose or our lotus flower being in bloom, there is no soulful teaching of the universe going on planet Earth. And without that, I mean, we're really going to be in some dark times. Okay, so we as women, we've always found a way to heal the trauma. We've always found a way. Always found a way. If somebody rips our rose out of our chest and just burns it, the pain of it is so great, but yet we find a way to grow a new flower. But men, it's like a little different. We're just so abundant with so many flowers, just so many flowers in our heart chakra. We're so abundant. Well, for man, it's when a lot of times, a lot of men I've seen in their heart chakra, and they're still carrying the wound or the tear of their rose from childhood. They're still carrying that same tear to their rose that happened from the mother. Okay, so they they don't want any more tears to happen. They don't want any more petals to be, they don't want any else thing to take away that beauty of the heart. So they rather just kind of keep it locked in the way that it is and not let anything else that could possibly like tear up the little petals and things of that nature. Okay, but what that does to a man is his flower will never grow. His heart chakra will never grow. I mean, he'll keep the same sort of the way his heart was, but it's not going to grow. And when a man's heart chakra doesn't grow or fully, you could say, come into bloom, okay, it's just kind of sitting there, in the same sort of emotional ache that has always been, or the same like unexpressed emotion, dealing with the same emotional thing. Well, a man cannot truly come into his creative power, because a part of a man's creative power, okay, beyond the ego, is discovering his purpose, his sense of jazz, his sense of philosophy for life. His sense of jazz, his sense of philosophy for life. When a man has that, wow, he becomes very constructive. He becomes so productive, and he becomes just, we've told women are inspiration, and men are motivators. They become so motivated, okay, by their heart chakra and by their jazz and philosophy for life. So I wanted to share this because I don't feel like there's a lot of talking about men going on, okay, and the emotions of man, okay, and how that's a different model from women. And as women, we represent patience to a man, okay, and when we're not, we represent patience and beauty. And when we're not, when we're impatient, and then when we're kind of disgraceful, with our whole like body language and just, our sort of nasty attitude or moods, that kind of thing, it to a man, it's kind of like an emotional bummer, because a man experiences a lot of his deeper emotions through a woman, or through the feminine energy. Not necessarily through like being in relationship, but a lot of times if a man finds a woman in relationship who is like his muse, most likely he becomes very motivated to be soulful in his life, okay, to better himself. Because when you enter into that heart frequency of your life, particularly as a man, you understand, you begin to feel the wealth of the universe. And when a man feels that wealth of the universe and he applies that into his practical life and his material realm, wow, he becomes, we call a true emperor, okay? A true emperor, which implies that he's providing. Okay, he's giving nutrients to the people. He's providing, giving nutrients, giving shelter, giving faith to the community, and faith for the community's well-being and their wealth. Okay, their wealth. So with the woman, okay, the final thing with the woman, okay, and her emotional maturity. Like I said, it only takes one person to emotionally mature in the relationship, and it can just change the whole dynamic. And usually it can be the woman, and that can change the entire relationship dynamic if she just emotionally matures and rises above the ego of man and being impatient and disgraceful and that kind of thing. Okay, really, when she decides to step into her wealth of the universe and become very much a teacher to her own life and a teacher to the generation, a teacher to the community, in the way that she is overflowing with creative solution, okay, that is strong in the way that it cannot be penetrated by any doubt, by any negativity, by any impulse, or by anything that wants to just knock her down. That kind of strength, knock her down. She really is as a way to teach herself not to get knocked down by a man, by ideology, by a culture, by he says, she says, that kind of thing. When she is solid in her emotions, meaning she's not, all that kind of thing, she has it in her heart to, as a mother or even as a wife, to bring a man to his sense of awness with life, and to be in awe of nature, to be in awe of yourself, to be in awe of other people. Isn't that what we want with a man? We want him to be in awe of us, kind of thing, like deeply in awe. But a part of that is having a deep, intimacy. And intimacy is maturity. Okay, when you see the bees pollinating, there's a deep reverence going on. People don't realize that. There's a deep reverence when you see the bees pollinating, the flowers, kind of thing. There's a deep reverence. It's unspoken, but there's a deep reverence. So when we think about, the creation and its ongoing, just making, everything's in awe of each other. That there is this reverence. And a part of that reverence is you have to be mature. The bee is very tender with the flower, okay? And even in moments when it seemed rough, like a beaver's dam, and then the water's just a flood and it kind of ruins the dam, there's still this maturity, but the beaver has for the water. There's still reverence. The beaver is like, you ruined my dam, you ruined my thing, my home. You water, you flooded my beaver dam. Now I have to do it again. But it's mature in the way that I respect you still, water. Even though you ruined my house, there's still respect. There's still like a level of reverence. Or even when there's a forest fire and all the deer have to leave. It's not this whole, I hate the trees, I want to cut them all down kind of thing. I resent you. No, it's like I have to move out of this forest, and even if, some of my little deer family die, there's still this respect for the forest. There's this reverence for it. And that's maturity. Maturity is not just, the high times when you're feeling good and your partner's feeling good and everything's going good. Usually that maturity is really tested when things are not good. That's when you see especially a woman's maturity, when things are not necessarily like going the way she wants it to go. Okay, that's when we get to see how patient a woman is and how graceful she is. So a woman's beauty is tested by the pressure of this planet Earth. The pressure is what takes coal and puts it into diamond. So women represent the diamonds, the beauty of the universe. So women's beauty it's tried. It is tried. Everything beautiful is a lot of times it's tested. It's tested. Okay, to see its resilience. It's resilience. So we as women, we represent that resilience, that when, there is the crisis and whatever emotional that we're going through, either trauma or suffering, the beauty, a lot of women who have that beauty is their ability to be mature about it, the trauma and the suffering. And to be mature is to be responsible. It not the whole blame and the victim and that is women who tend to be very mature or tend to be very psychic with their life and with their decisions and the future and the past, that kind of, they tend to be very psychic. And a lot of women who are in these crises places are very psychic. Either they're aware of it a lot, okay, especially it could be women in the Middle East are very psychic in the way that they have they're so responsible of their own emotional well-being that they're more sensitive. They're sensitive and aware of what they're doing and the cause and effect of it. So when you're more sensitive to your cause and effect, you're gonna be more conscious of yourself and of the things you say and the things you do as a woman. You're gonna become more conscious because you're sensitized to the cause and effect of the words you choose and the decisions you make, and how as a woman, we, especially as a mother, when we're unconscious, okay, victims of whatever sort of circumstance that we're in, a lot of times the words we choose, the actions we take, can destroy an entire generation. The little boys, the little girl, it can completely destroy them. All, so we as women, when we are mature and responsible for our emotional well-being in the midst of the pressure of this planet, and all of the the temptation to be negative and to assume things and to sabotage and that kind of thing, to defeat each other and conflict with each other. Okay, when we can rise above that, which is a chronic strength as a woman, basically we become very sensitive to the cause and effect of ourself, and therefore we become really ultra conscious. We become ultra conscious, and therefore we can see things in the foresight as women. And we, even our whole children's life, we can see it in the foresight. We can also even look into the past when we talk about the ancestors, and that psychic gift a woman naturally has. It helps us to be fully available to our beauty. So I'm gonna leave you guys with this discussion, and I hope that it has inspired you as a woman, and as a man has motivated you as a man for a woman to develop that emotional well-being so you can become a muse, the beauty of the universe, and for a man to understand that your emotions is different than a woman. It's okay for it to be a slow process. It's okay for it to be a process that is not something you just, freely give. As women, we can be very lovey-dovey kind of thing, or that feminine energy, okay, very, very welcoming. But with you men, it's the depth, okay? The depth of your... A depth is something that's really sacred and to man, okay, as women need to know. Experiencing his own depth and experiencing her own depth is something that is taken very seriously and is taken very sincerely when it's of the heart, okay, when it's okay, I really want to see this through, and to see it through and to be torn up inside is very much a shutdown for a man, okay? But recognizing that your heart chakra as a man is your soulful essence. It brings purpose to your dynasty, to whatever sort of empire that you're materially attached to, or whatever it is that is your life, okay, kind of thing. And a part of that heart chakra is embracing the feminine, either in your own life, your mother energy, or the own feminine inside of you, okay? And developing that heart chakra as a man is going to make you more courageous in the way that you're not going to be so easily like seduced to be like all the guys, and the guys talking about all the ego things that they do and all that kind of stuff. It's going to give you it's going to set you apart in a way that makes you a bigger presence than those men will never have. Okay, because when a man has heart, his presence is like 10 times bigger than the boys, that talk about just their ego while their heart is kind of like, they have no idea what that is. Okay, so yes, thank you.